Purple skies, velvet night, wrapped in love, bathed in light. A touch so smooth, a love so deep. In your arms I drift.
And the president of the ANC has admitted they are not capable of running a complex economy like the South African economy, of running a complex society like the South African society. The ANC president has admitted that. That's why he stood up at UNISA and said, people, citizens, please find a solution. We have no solution to your problem. He was asking, he said, why is this country poor? He doesn't know. Why do we have so much poverty? He doesn't know. And you have to give him credit for having the courage to say he doesn't know. But having given him credit, then you have to say to him, you know what, my brother, you have to pack your bags from union buildings and hand over to somebody who knows how to solve the problem of poverty. Now, whether that's the DA or some other party, Rise Mzansi, or some new communist party, they say they know better. So that's another matter. But it's very clear the leader of the ANC, the president of the ANC, has said they don't know how to solve the problem. So the challenge that your generation faces is to come up with a solution with a party. Either you take over the ANC and make it and give a leadership of competent people, or you form another party, or you take over another party, and so on and so forth. But without people who are capable of running a modern economy that is competitive, that can compete against the United States, that can compete against China, that can compete against Germany, against Japan, against Malaysia, then this country is going nowhere. And I credit Ramaphosa for admitting that his generation of leaders don't have the ability to run a country that can be globally competitive. He has said to all of us as citizens, go and find a solution. Full credit to Cyril for saying that. Then let us, the citizens, go and find a solution.
What's your take of the national dialogue?
That is what it's supposed to do. Us, the citizens, are supposed to find a solution.
Do you think it's going to work?
The government has given us money and said, find a solution, go and meet and find a solution. Well, we're arguing amongst ourselves, which is a good South African culture to argue amongst yourselves. But let's get on with finding the solution. I'm not saying let's not argue amongst ourselves. That's our culture. We like to argue.
But let's do it to a point.
But let's go and find a solution. And full marks to the ANC for supporting the national dialogue. Then let's go and dialogue as citizens and find a solution to the country's problems. And the former statistician general had said, once we come up with the solution from the national dialogue, we hold a referendum or we hold another election and see where we go to. So now that is being constructive, not just complaining and crying and whatever. That's a constructive suggestion.
Without being a conspiracy theorist, you guys understand. The involvement of foreign states in our democracy, and I mean, we've also seen things like your economic hitmen and all types of things and assassinations. How safe is our democracy from external influences and just keeping it clean, local, patriotic South Africa?
I think South Africa's democracy is quite safe, frankly. I mean, it's being repaired almost every day.
Okay.
the Zondo Commission was coming up with a solution to repair the democracy of South Africa where it was failing in corruption. But those are South Africans repairing, it's not foreigners. There is the Madlanga Commission sitting to repair the criminal justice system. Those are South Africans, it's not foreigners.
Do you trust
so
that?
So South Africans are quite capable of looking after their own democracy.
Do you trust the process of the Madlanga Commission?
Absolutely, I trust the process.
Okay.
I mean, Zondo showed us what had gone wrong, and he came up with solutions. And I'm sure the new commissioner, the Commission of Inquiry investigating the problems of the criminal justice system, it's there in public. We can see the process ourselves. I'm sure they will come up with a solution. Whether it will be implemented, but the president of the country has said to us as citizens, go and find an implementation of these recommendations. I'm not able to implement it. That's what President Ramaphosa has said. And we have to take him at face value. He has said we must go and find a solution. He can't find a solution. Then let's go and find a solution. And let's stop complaining. Let's find the solution.
It does look like a pattern. And with the exception of Madiba, may his soul rest in peace, when it came to President Mbeki, towards his ANC second term and the end of his state term, there's unhappiness about his ability, he's aloof, there are all these things that come out. Likewise with President Zuma, towards the end of his term, there's he doesn't have capacity, he shouldn't have been president, you can't. Are we not seeing the same thing starting with the current president? How much of it is just a trend?
No, it's not a trend, but the current president has admitted. You have to be fair to him. You have to listen to it. You have to listen to what the man is saying.
But he also could be seeing that there has been this trend.
Well,
let me try something different.
Well, he is saying, I haven't got the capacity to solve the problems. So we have to accept that's what he says. And he has said, look, I'm still president of South Africa, so I can provide money for you, the citizens, to go and meet and discuss for as long as you like and come up with a solution. Here is the money. And he has done so. So give the guy credit. But now it's up to the citizens to do it. The four of us in this room should be part of that discussion. We should go and put our own point of view to the committee that is organizing the national dialogue and say to them, this is what we want to see. I have my own proposed resolution for the national dialogue, which is that we must introduce constituencies so that the president is elected directly by the people, the premiers are elected directly by the people, and the members of parliament are elected from constituencies instead of appointed by the political party. And I'm going to go to the national dialogue hoping that initially it delivered, and then eventually they realize these guys are not delivering, so they kick them out. The ANC is now kept in power. You know who keeps the ANC in power? It's not the voters.
So
it's the DA. The DA keeps the ANC in power. So you should ask yourself, why is the DA keeping a party that the voters have rejected? Why are they keeping it in power? And your next interview must be with Mr. John Steenhuisen, and he must answer that question.
Yeah, John Steenhuisen or Helen Zille, or either one.
Or Helen Zille.
DA guys, come out. Okay.
They are the leaders. You ask them, why are they keeping in power a party that the voters have rejected? The production system of South Africa, according to the Constitution, capitalists is a few, which means a few capitalists at the end of the day, whether they are black or white, it's a few capitalists. And since 1994, we've had a number of black capitalists emerging in the South African economy. I mean, if you look at MTN, who owns MTN? It's the black capitalists who own MTN.
With that said, then why haven't we had job creation?
We have had job creation.
Okay, sufficient.
Until corruption entered into the picture, and then until there was conflict within the ruling party, then we started to have problems.
How do we fix it?
How do
Getting rid of corruption.
Fix this? Well, you know, the Constitution says, the South African says, if a certain party is not delivering the goods that the people want, you vote for another party. And even the ANC president, interestingly, the ANC president was saying the other day, look guys, you, the ANC members, the councillors of the ANC, I cannot run the municipalities. Please go and learn from the DA. So now, what is happening? What has happened is that the ANC really has thrown in the towel. If you listen, if you pay attention, the ANC leadership has thrown in the towel. They say we cannot solve unemployment in South Africa. We cannot solve the education problem. We cannot solve graduate unemployment. We cannot solve youth unemployment. So you, the citizens, you go and have a national dialogue and find a solution. Now I ask myself then, why should you be at union buildings if I, the ordinary citizen, have to come up with the solutions to the country? Then I will put somebody else in union buildings. So that's what our Constitution allows to, in fact, that's what it enjoins us to do. If we are having a government that's not able to solve our problems, well, we choose another party. And the people are doing it. The ANC for 30 years, majority of the people chose it, and they were...
With that said, coming back to the president's remarks at ANC at the roll call, something like that, is there room for another opinion to say that he has taken, as ANC leader, has taken the thing to say, look, we have seen what's happened in municipalities where DA runs in particular, and we could learn from that to improve ourselves so that we can, maybe our part hasn't necessarily been a compliance Auditor General reports, which is what he referred to, but a lived reality might have been different. But I mean, one would argue Mangaung is different. But him saying, is there anything wrong in saying, guys, let's learn from these guys too? They're doing something right that we're not. Is that really bad leadership, or is there a component that says a person might be open to learning from a different party, be it opposition?
Yeah, but for me as a voter, then why should I vote for you? If you cannot do what you had promised in your manifesto you were going to do, remember, the voters voted for the ANC. The ANC went to them with a manifesto saying, we will run the municipality, we will deliver water, we will deliver roads, we will deliver education, healthcare. But now he's saying, no, actually we can't do any of this. Ask the DA. Well, then why should I vote for you? That is, but it is fair enough to vote for somebody else. DA, if you think that's the solution, that's what our Constitution says.
Am I allowed to ask who you voted for?
No,
Okay.
That's my secret.
Okay, fine. That's your secret thing. Now looking fine, we are where we are now. It is what it is. moving forward, what do we have to do to ensure that we have the correct, patriotic, competent leaders that are going to drive Africa and South Africa in particular forward?
Yeah, you see, for me, I think it's the we've had our old generation of leaders, and understandably, there were lots of limitations in the capabilities of the old leaders. Yes, they led the struggle against apartheid, and they got us a democracy at the end. So that was a huge achievement.
100%.
But they're not capable. It has become clear, and say so. And we should all, whatever you want, whatever those two gentlemen want, they must also go there and say so. So we have an incredible opportunity in this country. Instead of what happened in Zimbabwe, Mugabe had no solution. He just destroyed the country. But at least the ANC and its president has no solution. They are saying to the people, you find this.
Yeah, let's do it together.
Let's do it.
In closing, what would you say is the biggest myth, or the biggest three myths of whether it's South Africa, development, like just the three big myths that you believe that we as citizens need to be better about?
No, I can't think of any myths.
Okay.
I mean, I think there are lots of things we as citizens have to be demanding, to demand more. To demand better performance from our leaders, and get our leaders to focus on their countries, and not to be waiting for Donald Trump to solve their problems. They have to solve the problems themselves. But I don't think there are any myths as such. No.
Donald Trump and America, what are they fighting us about?
No, Donald Trump wants our minerals, and he has said it many times. There's nothing secret. He said, I want the minerals in the Congo. Biden said the same thing, and Biden said, you guys in South Africa are not running your railways properly. I will build a railway in Angola to take the minerals from the copper belt to go to America. So there's nothing secret. There's no conspiracy. They are very clear what they want. The Chinese want the same thing. So nobody, we have to decide what do we want for our countries ourselves. But there's nothing wrong with America saying, I want copper from the copper belt. I want cobalt from, I also want something from America. I'm sure the Americans, they have Coca-Cola, so we have Coca-Cola in South Africa because we want Coca-Cola from America. So,
do you think we're going about it correctly as a state? Last question.
Well, with some of it, we're going. I mean, we have lots of American companies investing in South Africa. That's good. And so we are going about it correctly, encouraging the Americans to come and make Coca-Cola in South Africa instead of making it in America and exporting it to South Africa. So that's a good thing. They create jobs in South Africa for our population. They create skills in our population. So yes, but they want our diamonds, our gold, our platinum. Well, but they must pay for it.
Thank you. Thank you
for sharing your insights. Thank you very much for having me.
What MOELETSI MBEKI has said here, it's a mouthful, and it needs a lot of consideration to the youth of South Africa. We all know that at some point, Cyril Ramaphosa resigned during the time of Phala. But whoever, those were controlling levers, they had to stop him to resign. They said, okay, you should stay, we'll fight it for you. And seriously, they are fighting it for him because they were imagining who was going to be next, who was going to take over as he was resigning. Now that he has thrown the ANC under the bus again, telling them to go and learn from the opposition was more than what he could have said, because it means ANC has failed. Actually, we all know that ANC has failed. Looking at the infrastructure, looking at everything that's happening, the economy in the country, the unemployment, it's a number of things that are happening. You go in the road, there's potholes, there's everything, hijackings of buildings, like there's no government in the country. Tutula the side is telling people to stop going to the hospital of the country and all those kind of things. Now, the country is becoming lawless. This is a big problem. And now we see him creating commissions after commissions. That shows a failure of a president. Because all this commission that he's creating, to South Africans, I think we should think twice and look at the person first who's creating the commission. And the same Matlanga commission has to go and report to the same person who has got dirty hands. And we are going to allow that. He will just put until those documents, whatever the findings might be, and they will catch up on dust. What happened to the Zondo ones? They catch up on dust. And the same people were promoted. He has surrounded himself with those people. They got promotion for causing the country where it is today, the corruption that is going on in the country. So how can we trust such? Yo, lots of une-scandals zakhe zephalaphala CR17 ama-documents are sealed. But we don't see anything wrong. We have to make up our minds and think twice as to why are we doing this. What is the future of these unemployed graduates when we have such a president in the country? There's a lot that we can say about him. I can give an example of at some point, Julius Malema once said, the president is on top, but doing nothing. And again, another example from Sihle Lonzi, came in parliament with a paper tiger, and he gave an example of who the president is. This president is doing nothing. What he is doing is just to soft talk the South Africans. Looking at the Maldanga Commission that has been created now, it created Utsotsi. Is our reporter back Utsotsi? Instead of us as South Africans to take a stand and say, this person must go. We cannot have such a person in the levers of power. A compromised person found with dollars in his coaches. Sealed documents of CR17. Now we have a minister of police, who is reporting to him, who is allegedly was part of the sealing of the Phala documents. And the CR17, he was the one who was doing the campaign. So now, into the essence, why on? This is what is happening to Senzo Mkhunu. Where democracy works, this guy should have been fired a long time ago. This commission shouldn't, I don't think he has to be head his side. Already he has been destroyed with the evidence that is there. How is he going to defend that evidence? Because this evidence seems to be legit. So this is a big problem in our country. We trust Abatsotsi to be on the levers of power. With the CR17, Marikana, Phala, it's one person. Nothing has come out from South Africans. He's still there. So, I don't know what you think, family. What do you think about what MOELETSI MBEKI has said about DA? That it is DA that is causing the country, because it's the one that is keeping Cyril Ramaphosa in power. When they keep Ramaphosa, they are giving advantage of those who are working, who have been given those portfolios, to continue digging, because now in their mind they know that they might not come back. They have to think about their future. So that's why the digging and stealing now, it's going to be severe. Nothing will work out, because they know whatever they steal, once they are caught, they will be in and out of court, and they will delay the proceedings until everything disappears. Because even the justice system, allegedly, Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi has told us how corrupt the justice system. We see it with the CR17. We see it with this Phala. We see it with this Marikana, what more? Family, what do you think about this? Commission has been created by Utsotsi. It will report back to Utsotsi. Decision will be taken by Utsotsi. Family, we are playing. We are playing in this country. We have to make up our minds and think twice. Drop your comment respectfully. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bravo, bravo.